Okay.
Hello and welcome back to From Dial Square to Where, Season 3, believe it or not. Who said we wouldn't last? Well, we have. We're here for another season, and I'm really, really pleased to be back. It's been an awfully long summer. I had a lot to keep us occupied with the Euros, and it seems ages ago now, and then the Olympics, which I really enjoyed as well, especially the skateboarding and the BMX, because that's what I used to do as a kid. And well done to all the GB Olympians. But it's great to be back, and we've got two new guests. One old guest and co-host, I should say, and one that's been on a few times, which is great to have back as well. So I'm going to go round and introduce you all. First off, Lawrence, all the way from Los Angeles, sunny California. How are you? But give us an idea about your background, because you just briefly said it, but you're a long-standing Arsenal fan, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm originally from Cockfosters, but for the last 30 years I've lived out here in Los Angeles. Been following Arsenal since 1968. Going back to the days of Birdie Mee when he started to form the double team. Best moment for me as an Arsenal fan was winning the league at Anfield in '89. I was there that night, and nothing will ever surpass what the club did that night. Not even going through a season unbeaten, not even winning the Winners' Cup in Copenhagen against Parma, which I was at as well. That was a great night, but nothing will ever beat that night in 1989.
Yeah, exactly. What an amazing night that was. It was absolutely incredible. I would have given anything to go back in time and actually be at that match. I really would.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
What an atmosphere.
I still remember it as if it was just
no, I can as well. Even though I wasn't there, I remember it really, really well. I've told this story a few times, but I got so excited I jumped up and broke my toe on my sofa to run out to the back garden on that night. That's something I'll never forget. So it's great to have you on anyway, Lawrence. And Kunjan, introduce yourself. It's great to have you on.
Thanks for this, Andrew. I'm Kunjan, and I'm from Nairobi, Kenya. It's in a little continent called Africa. Unlike Lawrence, I've not been supporting Arsenal for this long because I wasn't even born when he started supporting the Arsenal. But I actually fell in love with the club because of this gentleman behind me. Huge Bergkamp fan. Watched him play for the Netherlands. Watched him play for the Netherlands and started following him at Inter Milan. The minute he made his move in '96, so did I. And been with the club ever since. Had the ups by watching us do the double in the '90s, do the next double in 2000s, and watch the Invincible season. Had a chance, and I know it may not sound too exciting, but had a chance to watch even Arsenal clean up their trophy drought with their FA Cup final victory against Hull.
That's very exciting.
Yeah, but again, if you ask any Arsenal fan like Lawrence, he'll be like, that's something to be too excited about. And he's right, because it's the old saying of, how the mighty have fallen. But there's little things that take you along. And it was a very emotional night for me when we did win the FA Cup. Being lucky to see, never been, unfortunately, at the Emirates or Highbury, but being lucky to meet a couple of players in transit, maybe in certain places. I've met Nwankwo Kanu. I've been very lucky to meet him.
Wow. Oh, I love him.
Bumped into Robert Perez, who I looked up to because I used to play winger in school and even for the under-21s for my country. So
Oh, wow.
I modeled a lot of my game on Robert Pires. I tried to model the man behind me, but I don't think anyone has till to date. So
No, a lot of people have. A lot of people have tried and failed. Trust me.
yeah. So yeah, I'm in love with the club. I have seen the dark days. I've seen the good days. I'm going to see darker days. I'm hoping not, but stick by the club because that's where your heart is.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's great to have you on, and I have to say thank you to Tom
Yeah.
of the Gooner Talk TV show. Great, obviously, I'm sure a lot of people watching this will know about his shows. I'm sure, but if you don't, go and have a subscribe to that channel. But I saw you on his channel the other day in the phone-in show, which is why I sort of approached you because you had some really, really good points to make, and I really enjoyed your appearance on there. So
Thank you for that.
thanks
And
for coming on
thank you to
today.
Tom because he's an amazing chap. He was so warm and so forthright the way he was. So
Yeah,
thank you,
it's
Tom,
great,
and
bloke.
thank you. And yeah.
He's done exceptionally well for himself with the channel, and
Yeah.
it's all completely deserved, the effort he puts in.
Absolutely.
James, it's great to have you back on, James.
Thank you. No, it's a pleasure. Thanks for asking me.
People that don't know, James is on the Purely Arsenal podcast. Andy, you also got your own channel, which you can have a chance to sort of introduce now. James, please go for it.
Yeah, so my channel's just my name, so it's James Johnston and in football. How did I come up with that? People ask me all the time, how did you...
You must have been tossing and turning
it
from
took me
night after
months.
night.
It took me months. What am I going to name it? Oh, I'll tell you what. I use my full name, and then I put football at the end. That's a corker, that is.
It's great, though.
Yeah, no, thank you very much. So, I do Arsenal videos on there occasionally. When we play bad, I don't like really sitting here and talking because you get in the ranty stage and it's not really, I try to be more constructive and not as negative as I can, but with the state of things at the moment, that's sort of how you tend to go down. But then I also do Premier League as well. So I do a Premier League review and prediction show also on there. So if that's your sort of thing as well, just hop on and watch us talk rubbish. I mean, most of it's not even football, to be fair. It just spirals out of control sometimes.
No, it's great. Definitely go over there and give him a subscribe because it's a great channel.
Thank you.
And also the Purely Arsenal podcast, which is fantastic. I love.
Yeah, I just contribute. Those guys pull it. I just I chime in with jokes. That's my way.
That's the best bit, mate. That's the best bit. So don't worry about
that. If they're listening, I didn't pay them to say that as well. That's genuine.
And Chappers, it's great to have you back, my brother.
Oh, how you doing? Yeah, It's great to be back. It's great to be back. I'm utterly exhausted today, to be honest with you. But I mean, it's just the transfer window that's exhausted me, if I'm honest with you. But no, I've just had a hard day at work today. So I'm hoping that everybody feels very, very sorry for me and send me loads of stuff. That's not going to happen. But no, it's great to be back. It's great to see you, man. And great to see all of you guys as well, and especially to meet Lawrence and Kunjan, who I've not met before. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of fun tonight.
Well, we just said off air that I really, really want to aim for more and more new guys to come on the show this season. It makes it a lot more interesting to have new viewpoints, new voices to listen to, new faces to see, and give everyone a chance to give their opinion on all things Arsenal. So anyone that is interested in making an appearance on the show at any point in the future, just drop me a DM on Twitter, and that'll be fantastic. Now, again, before we came on air, I mentioned that the last game, everyone and their son and their dog has had the opportunity to dissect the performance. We're not going to spend too long talking about the actual match, but what I do want to do is have a bit of a think about the length of time that Mikel Arteta has been with the club now. Go through the sort of everyone knows there's mitigating circumstances that has made his first managerial job extremely difficult. However, are they still mitigating circumstances, or are they starting to turn it a little bit into more of an excuse that a lot of the fans, myself included, who don't want him to go because I desperately want him to succeed because it means that Arsenal will be doing well. But are we starting to make excuses on his behalf now? That's what's really troubling me, because I see, even though it was the first game of the season, I see the same performance that we saw for far too often last season. on the pitch. I don't think anything really changed, even though we've got new personnel. Not enough, and we had a lot of people out, unavailable for selection. But the players seem to be still doing what they're told on the pitch, and it's just mind-numbingly boring, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm going to start with you, Lawrence, if that's okay. Now, there are mitigating circumstances, like we've said. He came into a real, pardon my French, a real shit show when he took over from Unai Emery. Then the pandemic hit, and so on and so on and so on. There's a lot of things to go through. All the contract disputes that we had sort of going on that you had to try and. What are your thoughts, so really, on that subject? Whether it is genuine to actually still be able to give them as mitigating circumstances, or are they just excuses now? What's your thoughts, Lawrence?
I think it's time for him to go. I mean, he's been at the club for what, 2 seasons now, 2.5 seasons, and I feared that this was going to happen when he got the job. Giving him the job was like somebody winning a Porsche and giving the keys to their 17-year-old son to take it for a joyride. And this job is just too big for someone who hasn't got any experience. He surprised me when we won the FA Cup. So I said, okay, fair enough. I'll give him a chance. He has to get us into the Champions League, whether it was top 4 or by winning the Europa League. We never got anywhere near the top 4. Totally screwed up the league. Then he sacrificed the FA Cup by fielding a very weakened side against Southampton. And when the chips were down in the semi-final, he played with a false 9, which we've never done before. And in the return leg, he takes off Aubameyang when we needed 1 goal to get through to the final, and replace him with Nketiah. When he and Edu said that Arsenal were going to go into the transfer market this summer with aggression, I thought, okay, I'll give him another chance. If we get at least 1 major signing, that'd be great, And we were then being linked with Maddison and I can't remember the others. I thought, okay, we're gonna make a push now, and it's been the same old ever since. We've signed players that no one's ever heard of, and I just feel like him and Edu are responsible for this, and it's time for a change.
You can tell it's my first show back. Schoolboy error, mutation.
Yeah.
I totally get that, but do you think that he is still being hampered in his job, or do you think that he is it's nothing to do with that? Do you think it's just pure incompetence on your behalf?
He was given the title of head manager. Sorry, first team manager. Okay. Which gave him, which put him in charge of transfers and player recruitment along with Edu. And from what I've seen in the transfer market, it's been the same old, same old. It takes us a whole transfer market to get who we want, when every other team, they target who they want within 3 days and they sign that player. With us, it's got to take a whole bloody transfer window just to get 1 signing over the line. And I'm sorry, and I just feel like the tactics are not working. We can't play the ball out of the back like he wants us to. The appointment of giving Xhaka being captain again totally baffles me. When this guy was virtually out of the door going to Rome, we've given him another chance. And I just see that if we do not get wins in our next two games, we've got no points coming up to the international break. I think he'll be gone anyway.
Yeah, it's it's a difficult one, isn't it? It really is hard to watch at the moment. But let's go to you, Kunjan. What are your thoughts on this subject? Do you sort of agree with Lawrence?
I agree with Lawrence on many points. I've always felt this, especially over the last 10 years, when a lot of the section of the Arsenal fans went against Wenger, saying Wenger out, Wenger out. I was maybe a small section who said, no, I don't see the manager as a problem. Because there's been a slow transition where the Cronkies have taken full control over Arsenal. Even while Wenger was there was a big section where there's a big, a long enough time period where the Cronkies did have a big control. They were not 100% in control like they are right now. And you could see, like, when the transition happened from Highbury to Emirates, there was more like, okay, we've taken a big loan from the bank. We have to pay the loan back. So let's start selling our players. And you could see the genius that Wenger was, because when he fielded a team with the likes of Danielson, Song, Fabregas, I don't even remember half the names. I think we had Fabianski in goal at one point. And we were literally like labeled kids. He took those kids to the League Cup final. So you do see that there is a problem, but at the same time, you need the right personnel. And Wenger had the intelligence. He did have the experience to do that. Arteta obviously does not have the experience. Whether he won the FA Cup or even the Europa League, at the end of the day, he's an inexperienced manager. We cannot take that away from him. But on the flip side, look what's happened in Germany. All right, we look at RB Leipzig, and their head coach has now become Bayern Munich's head coach, the giants of Europe. And he's much younger than Arteta. He must be a good 5-6 years younger than Arteta. So again, it's a catch-22. One side we're looking at experience, the other side we're saying it's fine. Let's give the young ones a chance. Arteta is making life difficult for himself on the pitch. That's for sure. You see his tactics. When he had a back three, we were fantastic. Okay, yes, we did have the blips here and there. But then again, the low block, the back three, the flying wing backs, this is something that a lot of people are deploying. We've seen what Nuno did with Wolves, and a lot of people are now taking that to be on the safe side. And Manchester City were not able to break Nuno's Spurs. On paper, it may look like a back four, but he was playing a back five against Manchester City. And you do realize that this is what the big teams are going with a back four and want to go high pressing, high line. And I think Arteta's brought that from Pep. He wants to form Arsenal into the new Manchester City, but he doesn't have the personnel. When you look at Kyle Walker on one side and a Consuelo on the other side, we don't even know who our right back is right now. We're experimenting with Chambers. Sometimes we have Cedric, sometimes we don't. Bellerin, God knows what's happening to him. Ainsley Maitland-Niles, who's not a right back, is being deployed there. We don't have any idea what's happening on the right. On the left, we have one fantastic left back, but he could go onto the injury table any second. So we don't have that consistency. I remember saying this to someone the other day. I said, if you look at the 11 players that don't make the cut for Manchester City, they could walk into Arsenal any day. Any day. We complained when we were linked with Raheem Sterling. We're like, we don't want him. Why not? He is a world-class player. He was a phenomenon in the Euros. But that's one thing that is, I think that is the factor, that on the pitch, he doesn't have the right personnel. Now we take it back to the board. This is why I started with how it was before with the ownership. I don't think we are given the right, as fans, we're not given the right information for what's happening upstairs. If you look at the video that was released by the owner of Aston Villa about the whole Jack Grealish deal, it was fantastic. That's what you want from an owner. You want someone to come out and say, this is why Jack left. This is what went into the deal. And this is what we have done with that 100 million that we've gotten. We've signed Buendia, we've signed Leon Bailey, and we've signed Danny Ings. And these are three areas of the pitch that we're going to, invest into, to not just rely on one player, but have three people doing the job. We don't have that. When's the last time? I don't even know what Stan Kroenke sounds like as an Arsenal owner. The only famous words of a Kroenke were, get excited, be excited. We're waiting, as Arsenal fans, we're waiting to be excited. They've hired Arteta because I think it's easy. But I do feel he's also struggling with the personnel, with the egos. And you can see that, the rumors you hear, you see the attitudes on the pitch. Lauren said it very correctly. Just a few weeks back, we were trying to ship Xhaka out to Roma. But the minute that didn't happen, we're giving him a new contract. From whatever you hear from last season, Arteta loved Xhaka. You think of Wenger, you think of Unai Emery, you think of Ljungberg, and you think of Arteta, they all love Xhaka. So obviously, this was a moment of, okay, a bid has come in, let's sell. And when that didn't work out, let's get him on a new contract, hype his value, sell him again. So as much as we get rid of Arteta, which, sure, get rid of him. I think he should be given one more season. I may be called deluded for that. I may be called a Spurs fan. Someone said that the last time when I was at Tom's show. But I think he should be given one more season because the first time he came in, he was still picking up the pieces from Unai Emery. Just when you thought he had something up his sleeve, the pandemic hit. And you saw his reliance to Ozil when he just came in. Something went wrong behind the scenes where he had to pluck Ozil out. I don't want to say this because I think this argument has become a little too dry and too, lame. But if you look at how Arteta played when Odegaard was there last season, with the creativity, with the flair, with someone who can pull out those pockets, we actually were playing better. And who did we have when Arteta came in? We had Ozil. But the minute Ozil was frozen out, we didn't have that creativity. Thus, we resorted to a back three, went defensive, and that's how we won the FA Cup. You look at the semi-final against Chelsea, and you look at the semi-final against Man City and the final against Chelsea. We deployed a back three. We took the pressure, fed it to Aubameyang, and he did the rest. When you look at the new season that came forward, he thought, okay, I'm going to get a creative player. We'll see how that goes. Didn't happen. They were not able to get Ozil off the books. As soon as Ozil got off the books, we got an Odegaard. Odegaard is coming in from what I've just read. So let's see how that changes. But I do genuinely feel this is the season. And I'm not even saying up to December. I'm saying give him the whole season. Let him run us down to 12th place. I know guys will be like, are you an Arsenal fan? Yes. Let's see what his capacity is. What's the worst that can happen? We won't get into Europe one more season. We're not in Europe anyway. Give him one more season. Let him have the right tools. And if he doesn't get those tools and he flops, it's on him. If he gets the tools and he flops, it's on him. We can't keep making excuses for Arteta. On a closing note, I remember when the transfer season just began. I think it was just before the Euros even. Arteta was linked to Barcelona. And these were not light links. There was some substance in it. I'm pretty sure. And it can be because he's from there and, they wanted one of their own back there. I'm pretty sure they're seeing something in it. Pep publicly backs him up. Unless there's something between him and Pep that we don't know. But Pep publicly backs him up. There must be something about this guy that people are seeing. But I just feel maybe it's the wrong time at the wrong club for the wrong person. But if you ask me, one more season, let's see how it is. If not, I think he himself will say, I'm not fit for the job, I'm out.
Well said. Yeah, I think a lot of that makes sense. I want to go to you, James, on one thing that what Kunjan said, and a lot of people say, is that he hasn't got the right players on the pitch to play the way he wants to play. Now, what I want to ask you is, well, firstly, give me your sort of general idea on what we've been talking about as a whole as well. But also, if he hasn't got the right players to play that he wants to play the Arteta ball, if you like, then shouldn't he just actually adapt to the players that we have and play to their strengths? Because that's what I can't get my head around. If you've got an excellent excellent players in certain positions, and we know that we've got some very, very good players still on the pitch, but we're not utilising them to their full effect if we're trying to fit them into a system that Arteta wants to play. So, I mean, what are your thoughts about that as well?
Yeah, look, I think everybody so far has been absolutely brilliant with what they've said, and I've agreed with mostly all of it. The problem I have is that, and I don't know if it come in from towards that late Wenger era when Emery was there, and then when Mikel's been in there. Obviously, we had Lundberg in between, but give or take, that was only a few games. There has been this toxic positivity with Arsenal fans where our standards just keep dropping and dropping and dropping. And for me, I'm like, how far are they going to drop that they just slip? And it's just we're just here to take part. I don't want to take part. I know at the moment that we're trying to get back to where we challenge. And then from when we challenge, it's where we win. So I'm accepting of that. But now you're asking me to accept to not even challenge. And that for Arsenal Football Club is a joke. That ain't us. So that for me is a big, big problem. But in terms of this as well, where a lot of these people make excuses for this manager that they never made for the ones before. And the ones before, give or take, were better than him. And all this about, it's the players. The man's had 4 windows. Okay, give or take, some of those windows were in a pandemic. One of them still is now. I know things have been lifted, but theoretically, still in a pandemic. 21 players have either been signed or renewed. Most squads are 23, so he's only 2 short. You give tonight, from what we've read, he signed Odegaard and Ramsdale. That's 23. That's a squad. So he has made a 23-man squad in the time that he's been there. So don't give me that this isn't his team. Oh, these are Wenger players, or these are the Emery players that got him sacked and everything else. This is his players. And the ones that he hasn't liked, he's booted out. He don't like Saliba. He's gone. Guendouzi, you took your top off in Dubai, swung it round your head while we were having dinner. You're out. But the guy who's the captain that drives his Lamborghini with his phone on his lap, playing on his phone whilst he's driving, you can stay. You might kill someone while you're driving a car, but that's not as bad as swinging the shirt around your head in Dubai at a party, is it? At a dinner. So it's these non-negotiables. Willian gets to go to Dubai to eat steak with Salt Bay, but he's still in the squad. Pepe grabs someone by the neck and is an idiot against Leeds, but he drops him for ages because of that. It's where is this line? For me at the moment, under Arteta, we have no identity because I don't know if he knows where he wants to be or who he is or where he wants Arsenal to be. And these players and us fans, we don't even, 19 months he's been there. We haven't got a defined style of play in 19 months. When are we going to get that? I'm really worried. Really, really worried. Because Chelsea, everyone's going, oh yeah, but we've beat them. This is different. This is different Chelsea now. They had a novice manager. They sacked him. They've got a serious guy in charge, and they've got Lukaku back as well.
Can I just interrupt just 1 second because I want you to carry on with that. Exactly what you're going to say. I just wanted to say one thing. For people to say, he hasn't had enough time. He hasn't had enough time. He's been there 19 months, like you just said. Mm-hmm. Look what happened when Thomas Tuchel came in midway through last season, took over from Lampard. What happened? They changed like that. They literally changed overnight and became a solid team capable of winning the league, let alone the Champions League. Yeah. If they'd have had 10 more games, he could have caught Man City.
I've backed them to win the league this year.
Yeah, me too.
I went, they're winning.
Look what happens when the same squad of players, you change the manager who knows what he's doing. Look what happened to Chelsea. And I'm sorry to interrupt, but please carry on that vein, because that's a really, really good point, mate. Really good point.
Yeah, and the thing is, we got Chelsea next, yeah? We got Chelsea next. I reckon we're going to lose. I'll be brutally honest. I think we're going to lose. He's then got West Brom. Now, if he loses West Brom, sack him then. Sack him then. Don't give him City. Sack him then, because the Carabao Cup gets you Europe in February. So we can be set. We could have a European competition secured in February. We can piss about in the league, finish 12th, 13th. We got Europe in February.
Well, it's the conference, but yeah, I'd get what you mean.
Well, regardless, you're in.
Yeah.
You're in. And also, for me, the Carabao, Guardiola wins it every year, or Jose used to win it every year because he goes, the winning breeds the winning. They've got something. They can build off that. So, yeah, if he somehow pisses West Brom up the wall, sack him then. Don't give him Man City. Don't give him it. But I hate saying it. Like you said, this is a guy that I really, really want to do well, because as a player, I know he wasn't the best, but I liked him. And one of the main things I liked about him, when he first come in, we had cliques of all the different nationalities. The English and the British boys stayed over there. The French boys were in there. The others, the Spanish lot, they're over there. Mikel Arteta come in, and he got all the tables. He pushed them all together. This is known fact. It's out there. If people, don't believe me. He pushed all the tables together, and he went, we're a team. So we're eating as a team. None of this, you sit over there, we sit over there. We're all together. And I think when he come in, he went to them lot, look, you've been divided. You lot basically kicked a manager out, which fair play. He was on a loss anyway. He was doing terrible. He was absolutely doing terrible. And he won them something. And so that little bit of in their head went, oh, well, let's back this. This guy's got me a medal. Let's back this guy. And now they're like, no. And there's big influences in that dressing room that influence a lot of the lads. And I hate to say it, but from what I can see, I think other than the players that he signed, like your Maris, your Lokongas, etc., and some of the ones that he's renewed and the British ones, the rest of them haven't got time for him. I think they've turned on him already, and I think he's on a loss. I really do. I am genuinely really worried about where this club is going and where he's going. But another caveat I'll say to what you said about Chelsea, though, is they've got an owner that cares. It all comes back down to that owner. Do you think that owner even knew we were playing a game on Friday or cared? It doesn't hurt him when we lose. That point. Abramovich loves Chelsea. I mean, okay, at the moment he has to live on a yacht because, the politics side with Russians in the UK at the moment, bit cagey, but he watches every game. And do you not think he picks up the phone? And I can't remember who the woman is who's in charge. She's brilliant, whoever does
Esquire.
That's it. Do you not think he's on the phone? Yeah, go get that car. Go get that Lukaku then. Go get this one. Go get that one. Because he cares. He loves it. This ain't a labour of love for these guys. They love their NFL team. They don't love English football. And that's the biggest problem. And it starts from there. And somehow, some way, we got to knock that ship down. And then if whoever comes in as an owner, if they want to keep Arteta and then provide Arteta with more equipment, then we can probably judge him and go, because, we are spending money. We've spent the third most out of all the clubs behind the Manchester clubs, but we spend it bad. Boy, oh boy, do we spend it bad. We either overspend it or we spend it on stuff we don't need, or we just spend it bad altogether, a la Willian.
Yeah. That's one thing I would say that I'm fairly encouraged about, is that lately, most recent windows, we seem to be going the right direction. I actually quite like the type of signings we're going after now, but it's been a hell of a long time coming. And I'm not saying there haven't been some duffins as well in amongst that, but as a whole, I'm quite encouraged by the players that we're going for now. But there's so much other stuff that is sort of clouding my judgment on that as well. But that, spot on James, there's a load of great stuff there. Because some amazing opinions tonight. And shame, but we're going to come to you now, though, Chappers, I'm afraid. But I'm joking, obviously. Can you hear me, Chappers?
Hello?
Yes.
Is that Daniel Eck? Yeah. Can you buy the club quickly, because I'm just about to jump off a bridge. This bloke James has been saying some stuff, and like it's really, really depressed me. No, he's spot on, to be fair. Yeah. Stop fucking nicking other people's music and get out and buy the club. Thanks very much. Okay, yeah, love to the wife and kids. Okay, bye.
That's what we've been missing, isn't it? That's what we've been missing. We don't get that anywhere else.
What were we saying? Sorry.
Where do we start, though, Chappers? You've heard what everyone's got to say. What's your thoughts on all
I've
of
heard
it?
what everyone's got to say, and again, everybody has some absolutely brilliant points, all of which, or most of which, again, that I agree with. I think the thing that that probably hasn't been mentioned, that I guess I would like to focus on a little bit, is when it comes to recruitment and getting players in and getting players out, it's just becoming a massive catch-22 situation, in the sense that, because Raoul always used to go on about the Arsenal knock, etc., didn't he? But that doesn't seem to be holding much sway at the moment. And it's when we're trying to bring players in, like you say, Andrew, I think some of the signings that he's brought in, I'm actually on board with. I know a lot of people aren't very happy about the signing of Aaron Ramsdale. I'm actually in a bit of a minority on that one, because I think that he would certainly be a good challenger to Leno. I think that
I like the signing. Just to put it out there, I actually like that signing.
He's very young. He's got a lot of years left in him. He's still learning, yes, but he's had quite a lot of Premier League experience. He's in the England setup. I think actually a bang-on signing, and Leno doesn't look like he's going to stick around for long anyway. So we're going to need somebody in that position, because my God, I ain't trusting Munison with that. You know what I'm saying? So, there's the signings that we brought in have been the signings that I would expect Arsenal to make in this particular time. That we're in the middle of a pandemic. B, that we're not necessarily willing to splash the money out on very major names. Not that and C, not that those kind of marquee signings are necessarily going to come to us at this time. Do you know what I mean? But the other thing is, of course, it's getting rid of the players. We can't bring other players in until we get rid of the dead wood. And there's so much. I mean, I can't believe that Lucas Torreira still plays for us. He's still an Arsenal player. Kolasinac is still an Arsenal player. I mean, personally, I'd be selling Kolasinac to the MMA franchise. Do you know what I mean? I think he did quite well. But I mean, Willian, Inter Miami have had a dreadful start. Take him, 2 buttons. A bag of chocolate buttons and I don't know, a pack of Woodbines or something. I don't know.
A carton of Kiora or Umbongo.
Yeah, nicely, yeah. Kangaroo carcass, whatever. You know what I mean? And so with the recruitment side of things, anyway, it's a massive, and I get it. It's a massive frustration for fans, because they're not getting the players that I think that they would want. I mean, Maddison, I've got to say, I never really bought into that in the first place. I just thought we're not going to spend that sort of money on a player that actually has, although as good as he may be, he is a little injury prone. And also there was Odegaard waiting in the wings, which we all know Arteta prefers far more. And actually, I think a really canny signing, and hopefully he'll do well for us.
Can I just be really controversial and say I think Maddison is just a glorified Willock? In fact, Willock might be actually a better option.
I was going to say Willock's better.
But we've sold him.
Yeah,
anyway,
well,
that's another story.
Carry
on.
And I got to say, mate, and Maddison, there's no way he'd fit into that Arsenal squad anyway, mate. Have you seen how ordinary his hair is? Just saying. Well, how long's it taken? What, 35 minutes before the first hair mention? That's not bad by my standards, I have to say.
That is not bad, no.
I completely lost. Well, yeah. So on the recruitment front,
You were talking about hair.
It is a little tricky. I mean, the one thing that I will say about certainly about the young players that he's recruited is that they do seem to be responding a lot better to whatever he's telling them to do than perhaps the more established players. As far as sort of saying, should I stay or should I go, etc. But I'm kind of on the fence at the moment. I honestly think that certainly with the amount of players now, as you say, did you say 23, James, that he's recruited or renewed? So with that amount of players that he wants to sign, I think we are going to be in a really, really, really much worse position when it comes to buying and selling if we get rid of him, because if we bring another manager in, he's going to want the players that he wants. Who knows how many of those players are going to stay? Who knows how many of those players are going to be out the door? And I think that getting rid of him right at the kind of crucial point of the rebuild is going to cause more disruption and essentially going to affect our performances on the pitch. I agree with you, Kunjan. I think perhaps a season would be fair in the sense that, okay, so he's got the players that he wants. I don't expect results immediately, but you've got to be given a little bit of time to try and build something. If I can see something happening on the pitch, like I know a lot of fans are upset about losing to Brentford, so was I. But if I can see something happening on the pitch, and if I can see improvements happening, then I'm going to be more likely to kind of stick with it and say, well, okay, this guy maybe has something apart from really great hair.
I can hear myself. That's weird. Testing. 1, 2, 3. That's better. Don't know what happened there. Right, I'm going to have my two penneth quickly because I know we're running out of time, and I want to go round. I'm going to come to you in a minute, Lawrence, with one of the first questions that the kind people in the chat have put in. But my two penneth is, I'm going to really try and get it in really quickly. The way I'm feeling is exactly the same as I was feeling around the start of the second season under Unai Emery, and I hate that feeling. I think we're doomed to fail at the moment. I think that the players that he's got at his disposal are far better than the performances we're putting out on the pitch. I cannot help but think that a manager who came in with a bit more experience would be able to get a better tune out the players and work to their strengths. I hate feeling like this. I've always backed Arteta and I've desperately wanted him to succeed. I desperately hope to be proven wrong, but I don't think that it's going to get much better. The one thing that I would disagree with Kunjan about respectfully is 12th. It's just not acceptable. I have to definitely agree with James in that. With regard, I know that you didn't say that, Kunjan. I'm not putting words into your mouth, but if we did give him the season and that it was going that direction, it's just not acceptable anymore. He has been backed, and it's his own job. He's only got one job, and that is to get results on the pitch. And if he's not doing that, and we're playing crap, then it's not good enough. It's not acceptable. Sorry, yes, Cheppers.
No, I was just saying, Arteta, you had one job.
Yeah, he has just got one job, and that is to train the players to play well. And I can't see that changing. I can't see anything improving as far as that's concerned. And it's not just the fact that it's one game into this season. it was a hell of a lot of last season as well. And even the last few games that we won, great. I will actually accept anything as long as we're winning week after week after week. But we were very lucky in some of those games. We played really poorly in some of those games as well.
Andrew, the honeymoon's over, mate.
Absolutely.
It's completely over.
Totally agree.
And I feel, and like I said earlier, I feel so bad because this is a guy that, out of anyone that come in to manage this club, he's the guy that I'd love to do well the most.
Yeah,
and because he's a guy that's been there before. I'm passionate about him. He's been a captain.
Yeah, me too. Can you remember when he came in and the breath of fresh air it was?
Yeah,
his first press conference.
Yeah, but
how great we all felt.
Everything that's being reported, everything is that the players are getting confused by it because it's changed completely from what it was last year. And this is the thing. You've got to manage, as well as the tactics and everything, you've got to manage the personalities.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. And there's people in football that their personality is, I want to win. And there's others that are like, I'm good at this, but I also want to have fun.
Yeah.
And I think the winning element's gone and the fun element's gone. So, the old, if we're getting psychological, the old dopamine releases and everything, they're just not there.
No,
they're just not there. And there's nothing for them. Like they're going, well, hang on a sec. What is this? It all comes like what I said to the identity. He needs to look at himself first. And, Michael Jackson, look at the man in the mirror and make the change.
Absolutely, mate. And I can see it on the sidelines. You know what? Players they're still not allowed to really show what they can do and what they're capable of. They're restrained. They're being like a dog on a leash. People are going on and on about Pepe. He should do this. He should do that. Do you not honestly think that he's doing exactly what he's told? Do you not honestly think that Granit Xhaka is passing and doing the passing side because he's told to? Because he's being micromanaged on the side of that pitch to within an inch of their lives, and that's what was happening under Unai Emery for his whole tenure. He wouldn't stop barking orders on the pitch. I
don't want to be rude to Pepe, but I don't think his command of English is good enough to stand up for himself. I think he has to do what he's told because he doesn't know otherwise how to.
There's a universal language the universal language that I'm sure he's understanding because
possibly.
Mate, if he was just allowed to be off the leash and just move in towards the goal, because he's not utilising our players to their strengths. And I've said that, I'll keep saying it. He is one of the best finishers and most technically gifted players we've got. And he's not being utilised. You need to get him closer to the goal and he will score goals. It's just as simple as that. Anyway, that's my 2 pence. I could go on and on and on, but I'm not going to because I know we're time constrained and I want to get around a few questions that people have been good enough to put into the chat. So, Lawrence, I'm going to go to you first on this one. Mark Green, with Ramsdale and Odegaard signed today, I don't know if it's been announced today, but it looks like it's pretty much done. How many more players do you think we need as a right-back, world-class striker to replace Alba, plus a Maddison Aouar player or both? He's given you a few options there, but what are your thoughts on that, assuming that we have signed Ramsdale and Odegaard?
Well,
you look very relaxed there, by the way.
Yeah,
it's nice that you've come onto the podcast and you've actually feel instantly relaxed. It's great. I'd love to see
it. Yeah. I just need to chill out after what I saw on Friday. I'm still trying to get over that.
No, you get in the ambience that I'm trying to put out there, and I love it. That's great.
Oh, you're welcome.
I sent him to sleep personally, but
yeah. No, I don't know if it has been confirmed as of yet, but I would rather have Stevie Wonder in goal than Ramsdale. If that's the route we're taking, God forbid. Leno doesn't give me any confidence, and if we sign Ramsdale, then I'd rather have Runnison in goal.
Fair enough.
That's how I feel. I don't know why we ever got rid of Matt Macy. That just baffles me. Other areas, I don't know why we have to keep going for another right back when we've got Cedric in the squad. I can hear a few laughter.
That was me. Sorry.
I mean, we got Cedric on loan a couple of seasons ago, and then Arteta gives him a contract, and now he's not even playing him. Yeah, you know, I mean, and now, and as I said on Friday, he played Tavares at right back.
Yeah.
In the end, I mean, I thought Tavares is cover for Tierney.
He was. He is.
Yeah, when he's playing him at right back. Strikers, I don't know. I mean, I just think of Aubameyang. You know, he's just not getting service from the midfield. You know, I mean, all this about the contracts is a weight on his shoulders, and you know, we don't seem to remember that he had a case of malaria last season. You know, and he's still recovering from that. But at the end of the day, the reason why he didn't get goals for us last season is that he's not getting any service from the midfield. Arsenal fans seem to forget that if it wasn't for Aubameyang's goals over the last couple of years, we'd have been relegated. So he's still got a lot of credit in the bank with me. Lacazette, I mean, I like the guy, but, you know, I just think he's past his sell-by date. Nketiah, I just don't think he's going to make it with us. I've got high hopes for Martinelli. Balogun, the jury's still out on him as far as I'm concerned.
There's plenty of time for him. I think.
I'm slightly concerned about that because I can see him just being binned after one outing by Arteta. That's the type of manager he is. He just won't trust him anymore, and that'll be the last we see of him. And he won't go out on loan, and he'll waste another season. That's what I'm worried about. But
Andrew, I saw him getting blamed. I saw him getting blamed on Friday.
Yeah,
he was making runs off the ball, as was Martinelli. And it's like you said earlier about Xhaka. All he's got to do is slide it there, and he's going wide to Tierney for Tierney to cross to who? To who?
I know.
Do you really think that they were the instructions that Xhaka was given was to give the ball to Tierney? Because
yes, absolutely, yes.
This team for 5 seasons run through Xhaka. That's why the Brentford players went press him, stop him, and we'll win the game. Because the whole game goes through that one guy.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that, and is that just because he has so many limitations on the ball that he can't make.
He can only go left. He can't. He hasn't got a right indicator. He can only go left.
So you know, I think that this has been mightily overlooked by a lot of people, and we desperately need another central midfielder. Like Sambi is good, but he's still very raw and doesn't really have like enough presence at the moment in the midfield to have that command of the areas. And we desperately need somebody that can do that can make those passes because Xhaka
we signed one. Xhaka's signed.
Sorry?
Xhaka's signed. We signed one.
Yes, I know. Which, you know, I'll also say that Xhaka and Partey together as a combination is not quite so bad. I think that actually works quite well. But that worries me. That worries me a lot. He had a very good Euros, and I was actually quite positive about that, about him coming back and maybe doing something for us. But after that display on Friday, I'm not quite so sure.
No. I'm going to quickly go to you as well, Kurjan, on this next question from Guna Russ. Are you underwhelmed by the signing so far?
Yeah, absolutely. And we do, like, if we do get a Maddison, and if I say a big if, it would be a good fit if we have an Odegaard, because I agree with what you said earlier, that Maddison is a glorified Joe Willock. If you look at the way he plays for Leicester, if you look at the way Joe Willock was playing at Newcastle. I was following all the games Joe Willock was in, and you can see
Maddison has never been that dynamic as Joe
he's
Willock
not. You're
was
right. No, you're
last
absolutely
season.
right. And Joe Willock was hungry. You could see that he was, he was constantly giving the defense a lot of trouble, and he'd pop up into space from nowhere. Madison, you can see him a mile away coming. He's a brilliant player. Let me not take that away. But no, the window has been underwhelming. Again, lots of rumors coming up about that because of Brexit. A lot of the British English players, let's be more specific. A lot of the English players' value has gone up by 2 or 3-fold. So Ben White, who realistically could be a 20-25 million pound signing, is a 50 million pound signing. And I think even rumors of like Kieran Trippier coming in, but minimum they're looking about the release clause, which is about, I think, what, 60 million pounds or something. And yet at 30, that's what the rumors are coming out. And at 30, the value, which is very comfortably put out there, is 30 million pounds. Go back a season or two, there's no way in hell an English player, like, yes, we get the English tax, and yes, we understand that homegrown does fill in a certain pocket that opens up a space for a foreigner to come in. But Tavares or Tavej, never heard of him. Let's be honest. We watched him once play against us, and he was left licking his heels at the end of the game. Lokonga, there's a lot of talk because of what Thierry Henry or Vincent Kompany have said. But to me, I think he's so far in the 3 the best signing. He's young, he's hungry, he's dynamic, he's exciting. Ben White will come through. There's no 2 ways about it. So the window has been underwhelming. With the addition of Odegaard, that excites me personally. Ramsdale, I would rather we had made a bid for Almunia. That would have been good for us. We'd have had Almunia for maybe about half that price, and Premier League proven, and maybe even be homegrown. So yeah, that would be a better signing. But let's not write off Ramsdale. Because just because he's been with underwhelming teams and twice gone down to the Championship does not mean he's not good enough.
No, that's right. I'm going to come to you with a question as well, James. Sorry, yes, Lauren.
I just wanted to quickly say, did you see when Joe Willock came out to the Newcastle crowd before the game on Sunday? Did you see the look on his face?
He did not look happy. He was not. He was not overwhelmed. There was a sense of sadness in his eyes that this is not where I want to be. But again, the inside information was he actually pushed for the move. Arteta did want him to stay, but again, we don't know
exactly. That's exactly the reason why, though, isn't it? He pushed for the move because he knew he wasn't going to play, and it breaks my heart a little bit actually to see it, because what I said earlier about playing to your strengths and the squad that you've got, it's your coaches. It's their job to actually get the best out of the squad that they're given. If he'd have been stayed, he was brought on as a head coach, and that is only what they've got to do. One of the big mistakes is actually making him a manager, but that's another podcast altogether. But considering that he's still a head coach as well, he's supposed to get the best out of the squad that he's given. It really annoyed me when I saw so many people on Twitter saying he doesn't fit into the system, so where are you going to play him? Well, have a system that works around your best players. And if you're struggling to score goals, put your goal scorers into that squad and actually work around them. So Joe Willock he's a lethal finisher. He's totally underrated as an actual goal scorer as well. And you saw that from that goal, a perfectly good goal he scored against Chelsea pre-season. What a finish that was.
Yeah, it wasn't counted, but it was a good.
It wasn't counted, but it was a perfectly good goal, and it was an instinctive finish coming on as a substitute.
But Andrew, can I also say this is why earlier on I said give Arteta 1 season, because I believe he's trying to formulate a 4-3-3, and from the back 3 we're transitioned to a 4-2-3-1. He will eventually, hopefully, move on to a 4-3-3 with the right players. If he had Joe Willock right now in a 4-3-3, he doesn't have the steel to hold when there's a counter coming towards us. So I do believe that he must have thought of Joe Willock as a super sub off the bench, but we just don't have something in the middle. Partey is not a defensive midfielder. Lokonga wants to play defensive midfielder, but again, he's being pushed as more of a box-to-box. Xhaka, We don't know. In all these seasons, no Arsenal fan can tell you what is Xhaka's best position. We were linked with Bissouma, but I don't think Arteta wants him. So again, the personnel he wants to get them to fit his style and his formation and his tactics. But there's only one person who knows what those tactics are, and I think that's Pep Guardiola.
I don't even think Pep Guardiola knows what his own tactics are most of the time.
Can I also say Pep was in England with all that money spent for a Manchester City team he took over with phenomenal talent. He went 2 Premier League seasons without winning the title. Leicester won the first one, and Chelsea won the second one. I'm not comparing the two, but I'm just saying that we are with a very underwhelming manager with a board that's not backing him with the signings that Pep had. Give him 1 season. He's going to have half a season more than Pep at the end of this season. And when I said 12th, obviously, I'm not even saying top 6. I'm saying top 4. We deserve to be in top 4.
Yeah, Kunjan, City went 1 season without winning a trophy under Pep. He joined them in 2016. Wasn't
Not
there
trophy, the Premier League. The Premier League.
Yeah, the Premier League. He wasn't there in 2015. He joined City in 2016.
The season Leicester won, Pep was in charge.
Yeah. He joined the season that Leicester won the Premier League.
Yeah.
So yeah,
the season he joined, Leicester won, followed by Conte, who won it for Chelsea, and then he won the Premier League.
Yeah.
I think he won the League Cup in the second season.
Cup. Yeah.
In the second season. But if you're going to look at it from that perspective, Arteta won the FA Cup in half a season. But I'm saying eradicate that. We don't need to look at that. I'm saying let's look at a top 4 finish this season. I'm saying if he hypothetically runs us down to 12th, even if he runs us down to 6th, get him out. Because he's not good enough. He's out of his depth. But give him 1 season to prove it.
James, I'm going to ask you a question related to Lucas Torreira. What's the best theme park in the UK, in your opinion?
Well, I saw someone earlier saying he was in Thorpe Park, but I believe he's in Spain because he had to quarantine there via when he went back home to Uruguay or what have you. So I believe he was actually in Portaventura I think they've got a Universal Studios or something there.
Oh, okay. Can you recommend it?
What, Portaventura Universal? I have no idea. I've been to the one in Florida, but that was about 20 years ago, but it was class. It was very, very good.
Oh, that's good. I'm glad for him then. I'm glad that he's...
I think he was allowed on all the rides. That's why maybe...
Yeah.
I'm glad we're paying for him to do this sort of thing.
Well, this is it. It all goes back to what I say about the top. How you can have a game on Friday where you get overrun and bossed in your midfield, and you've got a guy there who... Okay, Arteta is quite obsessed with stature. He likes having, statuesque players. And Torreira don't fit that. Torreira is so small, his hair smells of feet. He's a very, very short guy. So, bless him. But you can't allow your player to be in bloody theme park. He was on Instagram while the game's on. Doing stories on the teacups and everything else.
The funniest thing is that Edu was actually having a barbecue whilst we were playing Brentford.
Yeah, he was cooking his dinner for him. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's a laugh. It's a bit like West Ham years and years ago when they allegedly sent Andy Carroll to go for his knee to Florida. His knee, He's out in Disney. He's out in Disney drinking beers and everything. We all know what's in Florida. We all know where the clinic in Florida is. What you go there for?
Yeah, but the funniest thing is Torreira's not even big enough to go on any rides in the theme park.
Well,
he still went.
Yeah.
But Andy, I might have thought that if his mind was all right, he would be a great partner for Thomas Partey in as a squad option. I think he's got all the... If you actually think about all the qualities that we're looking for in a central midfielder, or we were before we re-signed Granit Xhaka, but if you actually think about what the type of play we wanted, he fits the bill, apart from his height.
Just sit there and protect that back four and him.
Exactly.
That's
and we've already got him. We've already got him, and he's only 24, 25 years old. But because we didn't scout him properly, and the fact that he just didn't want to be in England from day one, and obviously he's had problems since, but he was crying on the pitch when Xhaka walked off, and told all the fans to F off. He was crying on the pitch then, and I actually put something out on Twitter at that time that he has not got the right mentality to play in the Premier League. And I was worried about him then. And I don't think it was the first time that he was in tears. I just thought there's something wrong with him.
Yeah,
and I did put it.
He cried when he come off during the Europa final as well, didn't he?
That's the one. Thank you. Yes.
Well. But
that's what I mentioned. There was something not quite right there with him.
This is the thing is for however good getting rid of Ozil was, which we needed to do it, he had to go. But it set a precedent. And now these other players are going, well, you paid him, so you can pay me. Because we've seen it. We've seen it. That, Kolasinac is wanted by Fenerbahce. He can go back to his mate Ozil.
No, but Ozil needs a bodyguard. That's why.
Well, that's it.
Footballing
that's it. And when Kolasinac come back for pre-season, I thought he was big to begin with, and I know I'm not thin, but bloody hell, he looked like his profile picture on the Arsenal website was taken by a drone. He looked massive. He looked absolutely massive. Willian was bad as well, but I'm like, mate, come on.
Willian was the punching bag that Kolasinac was.
I know the public gyms have been shut, but surely the one at Colney's open. Like, are we not? Can we not? Are you not allowed in there?
It's the salt-based steak that he went very trigger happy on.
It's ridiculous. It all comes back down to, like we said, the ownership and the management. It's a novice board, so can you really be that angry with them? Because they're all learning on the job. I mean, this guy that was at West Brom's come in, Richard Garlick, whatever his name is, and then you got Tim Lewis there as well, who had a big rep. But it's all a calamity. I've said it so many times. You got proactive, you got reactive, and you got whatever the fuck Arsenal is.
Yeah, I know. Can I just quickly ask everyone on the panel? I know it's a few of you were sort of under time constraints this evening. How's everyone getting on time wise? Does anyone need to?
Okay, I'm fine.
Yeah, great. Okay, I just wanted to double check. I don't want anyone sort of having to rush off. But if you're all right to carry on, then I am for a while. I was going to say something. And when we were talking about all the board, yeah, that's the only thing that I would say. Under one circumstance, I would be happy to keep. If nothing was to improve, I'd be happy to keep Arteta. And that would be if we could actually get Luis Campos in to do the job above him instead of Edu, because Luis Campos, I've been going on and on and on and on about this guy, but I'm not going to go into his background again, but he would be the ideal guy to actually turn this club around once and for all and do a proper job of it. He can get rid of players better than anyone. He knows how to recruit better than anyone. He sold us Pepe for 72 million quid. He knows how to get a good deal. He's made over £1 billion in sales, on player sales. If we could get someone like him to actually do a proper job and turn this club around, I would actually keep Arteta for the rest of the season with no issue. And I actually, on that one proviso, I'd actually take any kind of finish this season to get him on board, because there'll be no point in bringing on a good, really good, top-class manager in this situation when we've just hired someone like Luis Campos. I'd rather let Arteta try and finish off this sort of squad rebuild before we brought someone in to take over that squad, because I think it'd be a bit pointless to change and get someone in then and then ask them to take over a real bad place. So that's the only one proviso that would do that, and I think someone like him would be the best signing we could possibly make. Screw any of the players. I think he'll be more important. Anyway, Tony's made a good point here as well, and I'll come to you on this one, chap. As I said that about Mark Overmars, I haven't heard the latest on that. He was stepping down, wasn't he, at Ajax? Did that happen?
You're asking the wrong bloke. Yeah, I think he did, but I couldn't confirm that. But
Does anyone know that for definite?
He's currently unemployed.
Yeah. I mean, how experienced is Overmars? I don't really know. I mean, I know that he was at Ajax as what is he, technical director or director of football? Is that right? Technical director?
Director of football, I think, yeah.
All right. I mean, all I can really say is obviously he was director of football in that time where Ajax really had made some massive progress with regards to building their squad and winning trophies and well, obviously I did very well in the Champions League, but we're a very consistently good team. I don't know that we need. I think when you say about Luis Campos, I think that perhaps that is probably a better fit than perhaps somebody who is. I mean, I don't know how experienced he is. I mean, it was Ajax's first job.
Yeah, I think it was, and I actually think similar to you. I think that because he's doing a director of football job at a really big club, and I'm not going to take anything away from what he's done there at all. And is he an Arsenal legend? He's not really an Arsenal legend, but he's a great player that Arsenal used to have, without question. I absolutely loved him. Whether he was there long enough to actually be classed as any kind of legend, I don't know. But he was a brilliant player that I loved watching.
He's a legend.
He was only there about a couple of years, though, so I don't know what equates to being a legend. I'm happy to take your counsel.
Is an Arsenal legend.
I used to love him. I think he was a great player.
I loved him as well. I absolutely loved him.
But being lucky enough to have a season ticket at Highbury in the 90s, that guy was one of the most exciting footballers I ever saw in my life.
I'm not doubting that. I'm not doubting it at all.
When he used to run with the ball, the fear in other teams' eyes, that guy was terrifying when he used to bomb. You knew he was scoring. Like Man United, as soon as he rinsed Neville, you knew it's a goal. You knew. And Neville blames himself every day still that he should have kicked him. He's like, I should have lamped him. I should have done it.
No, absolutely. I can't deny anything like that. I felt exactly the same. It's just how long do you have to be and how much do you have to win at a club to be classed as a legend? Because I think the word legend is bandied about left, right and centre, and I'm not denying that Overmars was a sensational player for us. But he buggered off to Barcelona after barely 2 seasons with us.
He gets into my best ever 11 that I've seen since I...
Yeah. 100%. No, that's fair enough. Anyway, we digress as we always do. But what his actual achievements were at Ajax, I don't know. I don't know whether he's right for the role, but I know for a fact that someone like Luis Campos would jump at the chance of joining a club like Arsenal because he loves the challenge as well. He loves going into somewhere that is totally messed up and turning it around. And he has got every credential that you could ever want in doing the job. Could Overmars do it? I don't know. I'd love to have someone like him come back to the club, but he's not the best candidate in my book, not by a long shot, to do what we need to do.
I have a question that's just kind of occurred to me. Do you think that Arteta and Edu, do you think that they have quite a lot of goodwill, or they think they have more goodwill in the bank than they actually do because of their status as ex-Arsenal players?
100%.
Yeah,
100%.
I mean, it just occurred to me there, and I think that they think that they're doing a better job than they actually are.
Do you know what else they have going for them as well?
What's that?
Is that they know that the people that are in charge above them don't like spending money. And they know if they get rid of them too, they're going to have to spend big to get a replacement for Edu and get a replacement for him, because us as fans, even though a lot of us want both of them sacked, there's quite a few people that want Edu just as well sacked as much as they want Arteta sacked. They're not going to take someone like Arteta or that again. We're going to want a name. And that's another argument I have is
I'm so with James. Sorry, go on, James.
People go, who would take the Arsenal job? What top manager would take Arsenal? I'll tell you, all of them.
Exactly.
All I've got to do is finish sixth. I ain't got to win you nothing. I've got to get you, because you've lowered your standards. Your standards now this season are sixth, not even fourth, sixth.
Yes, go on.
Yeah, I was just going to chime in and say there's been reports that we're chasing Conte.
Yeah.
I
mean, I can't deny that the guy is a great manager. I don't think he'll be a great manager for Arsenal. That's my own personal opinion. I think he would want everything. He's the sort of guy that walks around and wants rose petals thrown at his feet and people to lick his shoes clean. And I don't think we're a club for him. I think he would leave us in turmoil and walk out after a season. He would say the squad's not right. He would want it all changing. He would not get his way. He'd either walk out or he would get his way and would be left with loads of players that other managers don't want on massive super high wages, and we'd just be in a worse situation after 12, 18, 24 months. That's what I think. But I can't deny that he's had great success everywhere he's been. But he's been given everything he wanted at most of those clubs, and he's left them in absolute turmoil. I mean, look at Inter, who's just won the league, so they've had all the prize money for winning the league, but they've just made 150 million out of 2 player sales, and yet they are still absolutely desperate for money. And they're looking at probably selling Lautaro Martinez. Yes, we've had a pandemic, but they're into Milan. We've had a pandemic.
Owners have gone bust. It's more so their owners than it is.
They're still and every club that he's been into have been in really bad financial difficulties after he's left, regardless of whether they've had massive success. Mm-hmm. You look into it, and it just worries me. It does worry me. He wouldn't be my first choice. That's all I'm saying. And I know that I'm not, I'm not the majority of people that think that, because I think everyone would love him. But I wouldn't be that keen.
May I just add on to 2 points about Conte and about a sporting director?
Anyway, we're so inept. We'd get Kante instead of Conte as a club. We'd decide with the wrong person. So carry on.
Yeah. So if we're let's say we're to sack Arteta, I assure you his replacement would be an Eddie Howe, maybe even a Sam Allardyce, because no self-respecting manager who's a winner. And again, you see, this is, if I say this, like, you don't like Arsenal, you're a Spurs fan. I'm not a Spurs fan. I've got myself checked. I do have a decent IQ to know I'm an Arsenal fan. And no disrespect, but just putting it out there. No self-respecting manager. Imagine a Zinedine Zidane being approached by the Kroenkes. We want you to take over at Arsenal. His first question is, how much money do I have to spend? And the Kroenkes will go, money? What's that? There's no way any top-tier manager wants to join Arsenal. So right now, if we have, for lack of a better word, a yes man who's working with what little is given to him and he's trying to bring us up slowly but surely, give him a chance. Because it was like Wenger. As much as we say it was on a decline, his ideas were stale, he was stale. As soon as Wenger left, when Unai Emery came in, I remember the euphoria. Everyone was up in the air. It's like, this man is going to do everything plus one. He's the best thing since sliced bread. We know how that first season turned out. We saw how the second season turned out. We were conceding the most shots at goal by a mile. That's when Leno shined. We're like, look at him. He's world class. He's blocking everything thrown at him.
Yeah.
Coming to the
can I just interrupt you just for 1 second, Kunjan? I was going to say goodbye to Chappers. I know you need to shoot off, mate. So it's been absolutely fantastic to have you on board again. Great to see you again.
Always a pleasure. I just want to say it's been really, really great chatting with all of you guys. Great to see you again, Andrew. Yeah, really, really fantastic stuff. I'm going to give you a little bit of a salute and a sign off and say 3-0 Chelsea masterclass incoming. All right.
Take care, mate. I'll see you next
Bye,
week.
lads. Cheers. Take care.
Cheers.
So yeah.
Right, sorry to interrupt you there, Kunjan. Do you
No,
remember
it's
where
fine,
you were?
buddy. Yeah. When we were looking at a sporting director, and we didn't even have this. This is during Unai Emery's tenure. We had Sven Mislintat, who resigned because he wanted that job. He wanted to be the sporting director.
That's a big miss. I really regret
I
him going.
agree. I agree. But who did we get? We got Edu because he was doing something good with the Brazilian national team. All right. The best thing Edu brought from the Brazilian national team or his archive is Martinelli and maybe Williams +1. But that's as far as it goes. All right. When he went to Brazil, everyone thought he's coming back with Bruno. He came back with Pablo Mari. Fair enough. I'm not a hater of Pablo Mari, but this just goes to show that it's a big hit and miss with Edu. If you look at the players, we were talking about the players earlier on about Torreira, Guendouzi. All these were during that reign. And I've said this time and time again. If you go back to the days of Pat Rice and David Dean, who people will keep on saying David Dean brought the Cronkies in, but I don't think he oversaw what was going to happen. But ever since that regime has come through, ever since we've gone through this change, there's always been inconsistency. Ivan Gazidis, Rahul Sanyeli, Vinay, Edu, we don't know who the hell is in charge where. And when we talked, you mentioned Pepe for 72 million. Read up on it. That wasn't the price. It was way lower. Napoli bid for him. We outbid Napoli. But a lot of that money went, rumors are, went to a certain gentleman who's not with the club anymore. And when you look at that, that's because up top, there's a man who goes, I don't care where the money goes. I need to see profits. You look at Arsenal for the last few years, bar the pandemic. We were known to be the most profitable club, even if we were in the Europa League or not. Well, we this year we didn't make it to Europe, but we were always consistently making profits. What do you think the Cronkies need? They need profits. They're taking that money, they're injecting it into LA. They don't give a damn what we're doing on the pitch. They don't give a damn if Arteta's the man for the job, Big Sam's the man for the job, or little lad from Division 3 is going to do the job. We need profits. That's all that matters. Look at the endorsements we're doing. We've had the same sponsor on our front ever since we moved to the stadium. We're not evolving. We're keeping it constant. We want to be safe. This comes from the top. I think Arteta is trying to bridge that gap, but it's not going to happen.
I know. It's unfortunate because, as I've mentioned so many times, there's so many good points to Arteta that you really like. But it doesn't matter unless we see some kind of action on the pitch, because that's all we care about as fans, right? You know, everyone goes on and on and on about the cost of, we can't spend 30 million on this player, we can't spend 30 million. But he's not worth that. None of that matters to us because it's not our money. As long as the club's being run and it's not our money. So as long as we're getting good players onto the pitch and they're performing really well and we're really enjoying what we're seeing on the pitch, that's all that we should care about, really. But that's not happening. So we're playing dull football that has got no... I mean, I said this on one of the watch-alongs recently. I've lost count of the amount of times that a player receives the ball and as soon as they get the ball, they're looking around to see what to do with it, and they throw their hands up in the air saying, someone make some moves. And it's a lot of the time it's Xhaka. He's a classic. And I'm not saying that as a bad way, but he gets the ball and he's like, no one's making runs. You know, no one knows what to do. Everyone's scared stiff of actually doing something off the cuff. And that's driving me mad. And I don't know how much more I can take of it, to be perfectly honest.
Another point you make there about that is on Friday, I saw a lot of people, rightfully so, criticising Leno on both the goals. However, before even the goals went in, I was screaming at my telly because he's doing his whole divering when he's there. You know, I'm like, distribute the bloody ball, man. I'm like, you haven't got half an hour. You haven't got half an hour.
But you know why, though? I think they're scared because of getting berated from the sidelines constantly by Arteta.
But there comes a time in your head where you've got to go. It's easier to ask for forgiveness than it is for permission. So I'm going long.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Because, do you know what I mean? Because they had big guys at Brentford. I mean, IR, who played for Brentford, plays for Celtic. And that's a guy I've watched and gone, that's a good centre-back. I wouldn't mind. I'd take him at Arsenal. I don't think he's that bad. And they had the guy that used to be at Leeds, who was a beast for Leeds, and I couldn't believe they sold him. You know, you watch the Amazon documentary. That guy's like prominent, one of the main guys in that. And then Bielsa's like, yeah, you're gone, by the way.
He's a ticking time bomb. That's why I think
he'll
get sent off or booked separately.
But we just kept going long, and I'm like, these guys are going to do this every day. That's bread and butter for them. Bring them out. Get Pepe in behind, Martinelli in behind. Stop all this left crossing and everything. It was ridiculous.
I know, mate.
Let me ask you guys: Do you think maybe Brentford was a blip? Because again, the rumors were there was a lot of fear, and again, this is not excuses. I'm just asking. I'm trying to be devil's advocate. There was this fear of the whole squad may have to pull out because of the COVID fear. Do you think maybe that played with their mind a bit?
Oh yeah, and they wanted it more. They wanted it more.
Of course, Brentford were amazing. Like let's not.
No. I won't have that. I don't think they were amazing at all.
Oh no, they weren't.
No, they weren't. They weren't amazing.
They played fantastic.
They weren't amazing. They bullied us to within an inch of our lives, and we were scared stiff. They weren't. I don't think they played an amazing game of football, but they were far better than us.
Were on point. The players were hungry. They went in 100%. They left everything on the pitch when they were done.
I love Clive Palmer from the Arsenal Vision podcast, and you know, I agree with pretty much everything the guy says, and he said, "What I can't stand is going onto the pitch and being out bullied by people that just want it more. They're playing harder than you. They're running faster than you. They're closing down faster than you, and they're passing the ball with more purpose than you." He said, I can take being beaten by any team as long as we are beaten by the better team on the night. But what I can't take is being beaten by players that just do all those things that we've just gone through. And I totally and utterly agree. I can go off I can go home at night and accept a 2-0 defeat by being the team were technically better than us. They just played better than us on the day. I can't take being pathetic on the pitch. And
what I will say is Brentford will get more points against the what they class as big six than just Arsenal. They'll do that. They'll do that 2 or 3 more times this season.
They won't get relegated. I think Brentford are here.
I was not surprised. I wasn't surprised. I was worried about that game all along because it's their biggest game in their career and their history. Sorry, a first ever game in a brand new stadium in front of the fans in the Premier League for the first time ever, and they haven't had a bigger game in their history. So I was fully expecting that. But I'm going to go to you. We haven't heard from you, Lawrence, for a little while. You've been listening. Have you got any? You've been listening to what we've been saying there. What's your thoughts about that? I mean, because I can't take us being bullied off the ball under any circumstance.
It's been like that for the last few years. And my take on Friday was I was embarrassed.
Yeah, I was embarrassed.
I was embarrassed. Due respect to Brentford, I take my hat off to them. But the connection between the club and their fans after that game was unbelievable. You know, there's such a disconnect between Arsenal Football Club and us. It just beggars belief. I was so embarrassed as well when I saw Leicester win the FA Cup and I saw their owner on the pitch celebrating with the squad that they won the FA Cup. I was so jealous.
Yeah,
and that's what we should be. You know, and I remember Stan Kroenke saying at the time he wanted to model Arsenal on Leicester City. Well, I've got news for Stan Kroenke. Leicester City have overtaken us. We're not You know, we're on the same level as Brentford, Watford, and Norwich. I mean, there is such a disconnect between the fans and the club itself. It's unbelievable. I saw that video from the Aston Villa CEO explaining why they had to sell Jack Grealish. Do you honestly think Stan or Josh or Vinay would get in front of a camera and explain their reasoning at the way they're running Arsenal Football Club?
I don't think Stan Kroenke would know who we've sold.
Yeah, he doesn't even know what colours we play in.
It's true. It's true. You change the color, you'd be like, blue looks good. Let's stick to blue.
There's such a disconnect between the club and the fans itself. It's unbelievable. You know, there is nothing that the club does for the fans. You know, and I'm amazed there are still fans that are backing the club. They're backing Arteta still. You know, this is the reason. I just don't understand what's going on at Arsenal. We have a show out here in America called ESPN FC. I don't know if you get it over there.
Yes.
But it's a daily football show that discusses all the news. And they have pundits there. One of them is Craig Burley. And Craig Burley hit the nail on the head a few years ago when Arsene Wenger was on the way out. And he said, Arsenal fans are spineless cowards because they are a mirror image of the club itself. They accept mediocrity because they're failures in their own lives. And that upset me, right? Because I can see what I can see. I mean, I know, but it's true. 95% of our fan base
I thought I was doing
are stuck.
Yeah, exactly.
95% of our fan base are still stuck in 2004 when we were
seriously think my life
Invincibles.
choices now.
They can't come to terms that Arsene Wenger was past his sell-by date. You know, they can't come to terms with the fact that Arteta is in over his head at this club. You know, there's still fans backing him, even though the writing is on the wall for him. You know, and I just do not understand how fans can still back this man who's in charge of the club.
Yeah,
I can't.
And that's the problem with
people
that's
in
the
charge
problem with Sunday as well. Is there's all these.
I mean, I've tried.
The protests are going on before the game. You're still going to have the armory packed.
Yeah. I mean, the only way you can hurt Arsenal, if you want to protest against the club, you know, is you don't buy any merchandise. You don't buy a shirt. You don't buy a mug. You don't buy a video.
You just don't go. The empty seats are what got Wenger out in the end. That image of the Emirates under the lights, but all you could see was just the red seating. If you really want to make a change, you have to stop going. That is literally the only way.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, they're saying that they haven't even sold out Sunday's game.
Yeah.
They said that like all the top tier is still.
Yeah, it's gone to general
fans haven't been able to go
Arsenal,
for 18
Chelsea.
months.
Yeah.
We haven't been able to go for 18 months. It's against Chelsea. It's a brand new season, and it's not sold out. What does that tell you?
And it's on general sale as
unbelievable.
Well. 90 quid, bear mind. 90 quid still. No Europe. I know, we're not the top. We're not at the echelon that we all want to be. Still 90 quid.
I know. It's just ridiculous, mate. I mean, I got tickets to go to see the West Brom away a week today. I'm taking the 3 kids with me, and it's one of the opportunities I get. You know, this sort of match to take the kids. Otherwise, I don't get any change out of for 450 quid to take me and my 3 kids. Yeah. So I take these opportunities to go and see them against in the Carabao Cup, especially when we're away in the Midlands, where I live now. But that I totally agree with what you said earlier, James, earlier on in your show. That could potentially be Arteta's last game in charge, or it should be if we lost.
Yeah, honestly, if we lose against West Brom, and I know it sounds horrible, don't even get on the bus.
No,
don't even get on the bus.
I thought exactly. Walk home.
Someone else. Well, not even walk home. But organise him a taxi or something. But someone else picks up those pieces because it ain't you. You don't.
No.
You don't. You haven't earned the right to. I'm sorry.
We've only got 3 opportunities instead of 4 this year for silverware, and they should go all out for all of them. Because I said to the kids earlier on today about when we're going. I said I think he's got to go full strength for that game. He's got to.
I'd like him to.
No, but he's got to because he's only got 3 opportunities. Well, he hasn't got 3 opportunities to win silverware. He's got 2 opportunities to win silverware. So he's got to go all out for that because his job is under threat. If he doesn't, then he could be putting the final nail in his own coffin if you don't go full strength for that game. So,
if we lose heavily on Sunday, I think he'll be gone anyway.
I don't think
if Chelsea do us 4-0 or so, I reckon he will be gone.
I think if we get less than 4-0, I think we've done all right. The way things are going, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah. I mean, Romelu Lukaku must be licking his lips at facing Ben White.
I know. Tell me about it.
You got to bring Rob Holding back for that game.
Do me a favour.
no, actually, I do agree because he's actually good in a duel. He loves a duel. Yeah. You tell him to stick to someone, he will do that job really well. And he does. I'll tell you who he does that really well on. Sadio Mane. He hates playing against Rob Holding. Do you remember that when we beat them? Luckily, 2-1 a couple of seasons ago. He was like, there's that picture of him standing over.
Yeah, we've seen it with Costa. We've seen it with loads of them.
Yeah, I think it's a good
Ben White
job.
was a defender that played in a 3 with arguably 2 of the biggest centre backs in the league in Webster and Dunk. The other day, he's with Pablo Mari, who is quite tall. You know, he's very similar to Mertesacker, except he's probably got a bit more. You know, he's a bit better looking and he's got a bit more finesse on the ball when he actually has the time. When he actually has the time to do it. But Rob Holding, in terms of aerially next to Gabriel, is our best centre half.
Yeah.
So they're gonna go for. I mean, you're talking about ruthlessness and that earlier. Tammy Abraham, a guy that people said isn't good enough for Arsenal, is a good striker, but Chelsea have gone, don't care, mate, you're out. Lukaku's in.
I think we're going to play back 3 on Sunday. I'll be shocked if we don't. I really would be shocked if we don't play back 3 on Sunday.
We have to.
And I think you're right about, he's gone from, this is Ben White. He's gone from being, in a back 3 with 2 guys that eat your bag of nails and chuck it down with a pint of gasoline for breakfast. And he's gone to be playing against Pablo Mari, who goes and has a pedicure after the game. You know what I mean? He's just a different kettle of fish. I think we're going to end it there. And I'm going to end it there with one positive thing. One positive thing that you've got to come up with, not sarcastically, or one positive thing to end the show with from each one of you. I'm going to go to you first, Lawrence, because I know it's going to be hardest. So, say, what is one positive thing about the Arsenal at the moment?
Go on, Bennett.
Come on, there's a few.
I don't know.
There are a few.
I don't know. I mean, I'm hoping Martinelli gets a run in the first team.
Yeah.
I really rate Martinelli, and I hope he gets his opportunity.
Good. No, I'm totally with you, mate. And I'm just hoping that after that season opener, same as what I said about Balogun earlier, that he doesn't just get binned off straight away, which he's got a habit of doing that, hasn't he, old Arteta, with players?
Yeah.
Let's fingers crossed for that one, because I don't think. I know that Aubameyang and Lacazette ain't going to be back. So
you've answered your own question earlier, mate. He'll start up front on Sunday.
Yeah,
he'll bin Balogun off, and he'll play Martinelli down the middle, and he'll have Smith Rowe and Pepe wide, because we'll take a midfielder out to go 5 at the back.
He may even put Pepe in the centre, because Pepe has played strike in the past.
Yeah, but I think if we're going to be whipping the ball in and everything else, we can't have Pepe. I love Pepe to bits, but he's not ahead.
But Pepe is taller than Martinelli, so if there were long balls coming through with his pace,
but
like Pepe,
remember Martinelli's headed goals.
Martinelli's got that Ronaldo leap where it's just how have you done that? How have you done? What was the one in the Champions League where? No, sorry, not Champions League. We've not been in it for ages. Europa League. Was it against Vitória or something?
Yeah, it was.
Where he just come out and it was a big. It was like, wow, okay.
You remember his first goal from, I think it was against Nottingham Forest, where Tierney's crossed it in, and he was in front of the first post, and he got his head to it, and it went absolutely amazing header. That was one of the best headers you'll see. It's a really underrated skill he's got, so I think he'll be a good option. Right, Kunjan, what's your positive to take away?
I'm not being sarcastic. I'm actually not being sarcastic, but I think our loss to Brentford is our biggest positive, because I think the kind of reaction that the fan base has right now is so much pressure building up that we cannot mess this up. Like, he cannot mess this up. The team cannot mess this up. If Brentford, we got off to a flying start with paper over the cracks. Here they're all exposed. So I think what James said, that if he's losing to West Brom, he loses to Chelsea, loses to West Brom, you can't run away from it. You can't go into a run like we did last year until Christmas. I think we'll have to, we'll have to say goodbye very nicely, very cleanly, and move on to the next guy. But I do feel Brentford is the biggest positive for us. We may not see it now. Give it 2 months. Give it 3 months. We'll see where the season progresses. But I think Brentford was a good kick in the butt, and I'm glad that happened. So that is my positive.
Oh, I really hope you're right, mate. I really, really do. And that's
everyone does. Everyone hopes this is. In
fact,
yeah.
I'm going to use that for my positive quickly before I come to you, James, whilst to think about it, because one thing that he has got in his favour in the past, Mikel Arteta, when he has had to get a really big result, he's pulled it out of the bag. Somehow he has done that in the past, and that I will use as my positive.
Here's the irony:
when we
were on a bad run, and the chips were down, it was Chelsea who we beat to get the resurgence.
Yeah, it was. And no one gave us a chance in hell of beating them on that Boxing Day.
Yeah.
So let's just hope that lightning does indeed strike twice. In fact, 3 times, because we did the double over them last season, thankfully. Right, James, let's finish off with you then. What's your positive?
Yeah, no, and echoing what you guys said, he's had 9 days. He's had 9 days to get that right, so that's a long time. For me, positively, although it's not been officially confirmed by our account, pretty much everybody else, I've got to go with Odegaard. Because I know, unlike Maddison, he hasn't scored as many goals, and I think he only got 4 or something assists. But there were small changes when he come in that made us better, and I feel that with him coming in, it's gonna where the stuff that he does and the way that he operates, he's gonna drag, like I said, he's gonna drag defenders out, and then you're gonna get a Saka, Pepe, Martinelli, Smith, whoever's out wide, or even if Aubameyang does come back and he's up front, or if we sign a striker, it's going to give them more room to get, and we're just going to be a bit more direct. Because at the moment, I'm looking, going, where are the goals going to come from? I can't see it. And a player like that, I think, okay, let's go.
He's better than people giving him any credit for. I think it could be one of our best signings in years.
Yeah, and we're signing players that, okay, they're not the names that people were like, okay, but you can potentially get reset. These aren't short-term. I hated that we were doing short-term fixed signings.
Yeah, me too.
Willian, he'll get us there. This one, he'll get us there. I like that we're looking at it going, okay, this might be a year, 2 years, or...
I don't think it will. I think as soon as he gets his match fitness, he'll make a difference straight away. Martin Odegaard.
I was going to ask you, do you guys think he will play on Sunday? Not starting, but maybe even as a substitute.
I don't think we'll get registered in time. I don't think we will. But
as long as he's done by Friday midday, he can play. So
do you reckon the way the speed that we work?
We'll fly him in tomorrow. You could use the pictures that we used for him last time and just Photoshop the different bits. You can speed that up. You don't have to put him in the new ones. You can just.
Hasn't he got like what's it called? Isolate for a week, 2 weeks.
He's got 2 jabs of the vaccine, so
it's all changed now, hasn't it? Yeah.
Fine. Well,
but to be fair, I think Odegaard will need about 11 weeks just to break the Arteta tactics. So I don't think he will start.
I mean, I'm not Ramsdale's biggest fan, but if you're paying 25 million for him then Leno goes in the bin Sunday as well, and you start him because he costs more than Leno.
I would.
Yeah,
I would definitely.
Leno was only 22 mil. This guy's 25. So clearly you rate this guy higher than you rate the guy that you got now. So I'd put Leno in the bin and I'd start Ramsdale as well if he's in.
Lego needs to Lego. Leno needs to go in the bag with a brick and chucked in the canal.
Passing is very Lego-like, so
yeah, I know. Yeah. But well, I totally echo that. I think I'm really, really happy about the Odegaard signing on a permanent basis as well. But it's not another loan as well. That makes it a lot better for me.
Yeah,
because you're never quite going to be right in the mind if you are on loan again. You know, like Ceballos, he just knew that he wasn't an Arsenal player. You know, and it does affect you. I don't care what anyone says. It does affect you on the pitch when you know that you're going to be probably going to go at the end of the season. So I'm happy that it's permanent. He's 22 years old. And apart from everything you said, James, which is exactly right, what he's going to do to us on the pitch, that's only half of it. He's a real leader on the pitch as well. He's going to drag those players around and point them. And remember when he first came in, he was telling Thomas Partey, "No, you come and stand over here, Tom." You know, and tell him exactly what to do. He's a leader on the pitch. He's a captain already of Norway at 22 years old. He already has been for at least 2 years, I think. Yeah. So he's got the right attitude. And do you know what I like about that type of player, bringing that type of player in? Even though he's come from Real Madrid, can you really say he's been a Real Madrid player? No, not really. No. He's hardly made any appearances for it. He's going to come to us and really want to rebuild his career, and he's going to have to try and because 2 years ago, or even more, because he's been playing since he was 16, but he's been one of the biggest talents in Europe as a youngster.
I don't know if you saw it earlier on Twitter, Andrew. It really made me laugh. Some person on Twitter said, "I can't believe we're signing this guy permanently because Arsenal don't buy European flops. We don't buy players that flop for other teams." In the first reply was Dennis Bergkamp in an Inter Milan shirt.
Yeah, I saw that.
Vieira in an AC Milan shirt. Henry in a Juventus shirt. There you go. There you go.
He's not flopped. He's not flopped there because he hasn't played for them.
No, Ancelotti don't like him.
Yes,
Andrew. Maybe when he does sign for us, because it's not confirmed, when he does sign for us, maybe he can have a word with Erling Braut Haaland to come and join us next season.
Yeah,
that'd be all right, wouldn't it?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Do you know what, though? No, I'm not even joking. Why? We're not even in the conversation. Why not? Because next summer, he's got a £67 million release clause. Now, everyone will say, because we haven't got Europe. But we should be having Europe by the end of the season. We should be. It's not good enough if we ain't. If we can get by hook or by crook into Europe next season, why not put a slap of £67 million thing in? Because that's the release clause, and let him make his own mind up. Because I'll tell you what, his dad ain't a fan of Man United. His fan won't be a fan of Chelsea either. Because you know what Leeds and Chelsea are like as well.
Apparently, he went to London Colney with his dad last summer or a year ago. When they were in England, they took a tour around the Arsenal training ground.
Yeah, I wouldn't rule out the possibility. And people will say I'm absolutely crazy. I'm mad. I'm sorry, but Arsenal. Are still one of the biggest clubs in the world, and we are making a team that's quite exciting. Take the manager out of it, we've still got some very exciting young players he will want to play with. I would go for him. I really would, because we're losing Lacazette regardless next summer. His contract's gone, and we're probably going to lose Aubameyang potentially this summer as well before the window's out. But we'll see.
Don't be shocked if City can't get Kane; they end up buying Aubameyang.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, we'll leave it there. And we've gone way over what I said we were going to go over today. But I've really enjoyed it. And I want to cut it short because I think we've covered some great ground there. So I can't thank you all enough. Kunjan, first, I'll go around clockwise. Where could people find you on Twitter and anything else that you might be up to?
It's the same name all over Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. It's Kunjan Nitin. Until the pandemic hit, I used to do a lot of theatre over here. I'm a writer, actor, director, not in that order, but That's something
Fantastic.
I do enjoy. We do a lot of documentaries, short films, features, campaigns. So this is what I love doing. Besides watching my team lose, that's priority number one. So yeah, just please be more than happy to find me on all social medias on this. I'm not a social media guy, but I will reply to whoever does message me.
That's fantastic. It's been a real pleasure having you on. And I
No,
hope
thank you for having me, Andrew. And one point I just wanted to bring up before we end this, and none of you did speak about him, is we're missing a very important cog, and no one has spoken about him the last few days. And he was even missing on Friday. What's happened to Mohammed El Neni?
What's happened to him?
We don't have him, and it could be a problem.
He was on the subs bench, wasn't he? He was one of the subs
he was on the
Oh,
subs
he
bench.
was. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was.
Didn't see him
He
there.
was. But I mean, let's not. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole.
Don't go
You're a
there.
really naughty
Don't
boy,
go
you
there.
are, bringing it up because that's another rabbit hole. Exactly. James, where can people find you? We mentioned it earlier, but for anyone coming in late, then please tell them where they can find you.
The unique name.
Yeah, it's LL Cool James 91 on Twitter. Thank you very much. And just purely Arsenal FP. That's the podcast. I don't know when the band are going to get back together because, like I said, if we don't win, we don't like to talk about it. To be fair, and then it's just James Johnston Football. That's my personal channel. I mean, that's the one. If you're going to sub, I'd appreciate the sub there.
Definitely well worth it. And Lawrence, where can people find you, mate, on Twitter and anything else to interact with you?
Twitter, it's down at the bottom. It's once always. I mean, it's really once a gooner, always a gooner, but Twitter shortened it to once always. So that's where they can find me. I'm on and off Facebook. You know, they can find me on there as well. That's about it, really.
Fantastic. No, the reason I ask this, people always say, well, it's on my screen. But we do put this show out on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, etc., where there's no pictures. So that's the reason I always cover that as well.
Oh, okay.
Because, I want people to realise that we are on there. If you are out and about, you want to listen to something on your dog walks or whilst you're on your way to work or whatever, then please find us on all the main podcast platforms as well. So that'd be fantastic.
Okay.
So thank you ever so much again for everyone in the chat as well. There's too many people here that have made just to do it individually, but each and every one of you, I really appreciate it. Some great stuff in there, some great questions. I hope we did cover them all. I think we got through them all in the end. And we'll be back next week. So without further ado, I will end it there and say, come on, you Gooners.